At 73, I found myself in the most unexpected place for a retired teacher who'd always considered herself healthy. Leaning against a grocery store shelf, breathless, with my hand pressed to my chest. I remember the fluorescent lights flickering above me and the cool metal of the cart against my palm. It was just a short walk from the parking lot, but halfway down the cereal aisle, my lungs suddenly felt like they couldn't keep up. A simple errand turned into a moment of panic. The scariest part? This wasn't an isolated incident. Over the next few weeks, climbing stairs, walking to my mailbox, and even talking on the phone for too long brought a tightness to my chest that refused to let go. I brushed it off the way so many of us do. It's just age, I told myself. It'll pass. But it didn't. And the more I tried to ignore it, the worse it seemed to get. I started picturing what life would look like if I couldn't do everyday tasks without gasping for air. Was I doomed to be someone who needed a portable oxygen tank just to visit my grandchildren? Would I miss out on the joys of gardening, of traveling, even of simply chatting with old friends without feeling winded? That's when I realized something had to change. It wasn't just about avoiding discomfort. I knew if I kept letting this problem fester, I risked losing so much more. The ability to play with my grandkids when they ran into my arms. The freedom to go for a walk along my favorite park trail. Even the simple pleasure of a hearty laugh without coughing halfway through. So I started digging into why breathing becomes more challenging as we get older and what can be done about it. Little did I know, there was a surprising secret out there, one that most seniors aren't even aware of, that can make breathing feel lighter, easier, almost like rewinding the clock on our lungs. Doctors and specialists are now recognizing how crucial it is to manage this aspect of aging instead of just accepting it as inevitable. And that's exactly what we're going to explore in this video. Today we'll cover 5 pivotal insights that can transform how you breathe, how you move, and ultimately, how you live. By the end, you'll discover small adjustments that open up a whole new world of possibility, things you can start practicing today. The last tip might just be the one that turns everything you thought you knew about breathing on its head, so be sure to stick around for that. For those who don't know me, I've spent years speaking with respiratory therapists, observing seniors in wellness programs, and testing countless strategies on myself. My biggest takeaway? Breathing well isn't just about oxygen. It's about freedom, peace of mind, and feeling in charge of your own body, no matter your age. Before we dive into these 5 points, I invite you to subscribe to this channel and tap that little bell icon. If something here resonates with you, let me know by typing 1 in the comments. And if not, feel free to type 0. Either way, your feedback helps shape this community. Let's jump in with the first crucial key to discovering the surprising secret to easier breathing that most seniors don't know. Number 1, get ready for a statement that might sound counterintuitive. You have to learn to breathe less to breathe better. For years, the common wisdom has been, take a deep breath when you feel short of breath. It sounds obvious, doesn't it? More air equals more oxygen, right? Actually, it's not that simple. Far too many seniors believe that deep, forceful inhales are the only path to better breathing. But what if I told you this approach can sometimes work against you, leading to dizziness or even a feeling of panic? Take James, for example. He's 78 and used to be an avid weekend hiker. When he began noticing he'd get winded just climbing the single flight of stairs to his apartment, he thought the fix was to inhale as deeply as possible every chance he got. Yet the harder he tried, the more he felt he couldn't get enough air. It almost felt like trying to fill an already overstuffed balloon. You can force a bit more in, but it doesn't always help it function better. Then James stumbled upon a surprising insight. Sometimes shorter, gentler breaths using the diaphragm can be more effective than long, deep chest breaths. Think of it like tuning a guitar. Cranking the pegs as far as they'll go doesn't make better music. It'll just snap the strings. Breathing is about rhythm and balance, not brute force. If you want to experience this firsthand, place 1 hand on your belly and the other on your chest. Slowly inhale through your nose for about 4 seconds, feeling the hand on your belly rise instead of your chest. Then exhale gently for another 4 seconds, letting your belly sink. Repeat this 5 times, but don't try to force each inhale. Keep it easy. like a gentle wave in and out. Notice how you might actually feel more satisfied with less strain. The emotional benefit here goes beyond just comfort. When you master this gentler style of breathing, you start to trust your body again. You replace that sense of panic. I can't get enough air, with calm, confident control. It's a small shift with a big payoff, because breathing more efficiently can reduce episodes of dizziness and give you greater stamina for daily tasks. Breathe in harmony, not in a hurry. That's the slogan James coined for himself, and it helped him overcome that anxious feeling of breathlessness. If you embrace this idea, you'll set the foundation for everything else we'll talk about today. Next, let's address another trap many seniors fall into, something that happens quietly over time until one day you wake up and find it limiting your freedom. And that is the tendency to hunch forward or slouch, a posture that compresses your lungs and leaves you running on half your respiratory capacity. At first glance, you might think posture is a trivial issue, just a matter of standing up straight, right? But a lot of people your age believe that once gravity sets in, there's no real way to fix it. It's just my spine curving with age, they say. Nothing to be done. This assumption can lock you into a cycle of poor alignment, shallow breathing, and even decreased confidence in how you move. Meet Cheryl, age 80. She retired from her job as a librarian a decade ago. Ever since, she spent a good part of each day reading in her old armchair. Over the years, her shoulders had started to round, her head jutted forward, and she found herself struggling to breathe fully, especially on walks with her friend. She assumed it was just her lungs aging, but the real culprit was her posture. Cheryl discovered that even small posture tweaks can dramatically expand lung capacity. Think of your torso like a stretched-out accordion. When you maintain an upright stance, it has room to expand and contract freely. Hunching is like compressing that accordion so no air can flow. One trick you can try is something I call the wall alignment exercise. Stand with your back against a wall, heels about 3 inches away from it, and gently press your head, shoulder blades, and tailbone toward the wall. Notice which parts of your spine are touching and which aren't. Then step away and try to maintain that feeling of alignment as you walk across the room. Start with a few minutes a day and gradually extend the time. Many seniors see posture as a purely aesthetic concern, but the emotional benefit of standing tall can be profound. You not only breathe better, but also feel a sense of dignity and energy that's hard to describe until you experience it. There's pride in reclaiming the physical presence you might have thought was gone for good. Most surprisingly, this approach isn't just about how you look in the mirror. It's about how your entire respiratory system can open up, letting you draw in air more effortlessly. And that sense of ease can ripple through every aspect of your life. Whether it's reaching for a can on a high shelf without feeling lightheaded, or taking a brisk walk around the block with renewed confidence. If you've made it this far and you're finding these insights useful, comment the number 2 below to let me know you're still here with me, absorbing these ideas. And if you haven't yet, feel free to subscribe so you won't miss future videos. I appreciate your support and hope you continue to find value in these steps. Now let's talk about something many people overlook, the pace at which they move through daily activities. I call this mindful pacing, and it's our third crucial point. A lot of seniors I know drive themselves too hard, even when their bodies signal it's time for a break. We live in a world that praises speed. Get it done fast, no time to waste. But here's a truth that might sound bold. Rushing is the enemy of healthy lungs. There's a common misconception that if you push through the fatigue, you'll build endurance. Yet this push harder approach can actually strain your respiratory system, leading to shallow, rapid breathing. Imagine trying to pump water through a kinked hose. The more pressure you apply, the more chaotic the flow becomes. And if you have any underlying conditions, rushing can throw your balance off, leaving you gasping and worried about the next step. Consider Thomas, who's 85 and insists on tackling his grocery shopping in one go. No breaks, no rests. He just wants it over with. He used to pride himself on his efficiency, but one day after powering through half the store, he felt a tightness in his chest. He leaned on the cart, each breath shallow and quick, afraid he was about to faint. Then Thomas tried a different strategy. He'd walk in intervals, slow down when his body signaled discomfort, and even pause to take slow, intentional breaths. That's all. No expensive equipment, no complicated exercises, just listening to his body's natural rhythms. To his surprise, he found he could shop longer overall by moving slower in the short term. He'd finish with more energy, less breathlessness, and, ironically, ended up being more efficient because he wasn't doubled over in the produce aisle. Sometimes less speed actually means more quality of life. You can practice mindful pacing by doing a simple check-in with yourself every half hour. How is your breathing? Are you starting to feel a strain? If so, take a mini break. Maybe count 5 slow breaths before resuming. Breaking tasks into smaller chunks can help you maintain an even respiratory rate. The emotional benefit here is the relief of knowing you don't have to force yourself beyond your limits just to prove something. When you adopt mindful pacing, you grant yourself permission to be kinder to your body. And that kindness can be a big confidence booster because it reminds you that you're still the one in control. Go slow to go far. That's the short phrase I always associate with Thomas. It's a potent reminder that pacing isn't about giving up. It's about giving yourself the best chance to thrive in the long run. Let's move to point number 4, which addresses a little-known synergy between hydration and nasal breathing. People often assume hydration is just about drinking enough water to keep your throat from getting dry. But water does far more than that. It helps keep your mucous membranes in good shape, which in turn makes breathing easier. Yet here's the misconception. As long as I have my tea or coffee, I'm good. Not exactly. Many seniors rely heavily on caffeinated or sugary beverages that can actually dehydrate you further. Proper hydration means plain water, an obvious fact, but one that gets overlooked. But the real twist here is nasal breathing. Breathing through the nose helps warm, filter, and humidify the air before it enters your lungs. Mouth breathing, on the other hand, can dry your throat, lead to irritation, and even reduce oxygen absorption efficiency. Mary, who's 79, used to wake up at night with a mouth so dry it felt like sandpaper. She also noticed that her chest felt tighter in the mornings, and she'd often start the day coughing. Her doctor suggested something as simple as sipping water more frequently throughout the day and training herself to breathe through her nose whenever possible, even at night if she could manage it. She started by placing a small water bottle on her nightstand and another one on her living room table where she knitted. She also practiced consciously closing her mouth and breathing slowly through her nose while she watched TV, allowing herself to become more familiar with how nasal breathing felt. Over time, she noticed that she slept better, coughed less, and woke up feeling more refreshed. It's like lubricating a machine. You wouldn't dream of running a car engine without oil, right? In the same way, your respiratory system benefits from being properly lubricated with water, while the nose acts as a built-in filter and humidifier. The emotional gain here is subtle yet significant. You feel safer in your own body. There's less of that waking up in a panic, no more rough, scratchy feeling in your throat, and a greater sense of well-being that carries over into how you interact with family and friends. If you're still following along and finding value, drop a number 4 in the comments to let me know you're here. If you haven't subscribed yet, you might want to do that now because we're about to reveal our final point, which could very well change everything you think about easy, natural breathing. So here it is, point number 5. Stress management is one of the most vital yet overlooked components of easier breathing. That might sound strange at first, after all. Breathing troubles can feel purely physical, but anxiety, worry, and stress have a direct impact on how freely we can draw in air. A widespread misconception is that stress is just in your head, and if you're retired, what is there to be stressed about? But seniors experience stress for many reasons: health concerns, financial worries, family issues, or even the emotional toll of losing friends and loved ones. And stress doesn't just live in your mind, it lives in your body. Imagine your lungs like 2 peaceful lakes. Stress is like tossing rocks into the water over and over again. Eventually, the waves become so choppy that it's impossible to see the bottom. When you're anxious, your shoulders tense up, your chest tightens, and your breathing becomes shallow and hurried, making it even more challenging to catch your breath. Take Robert, for instance. He's 84 and does just fine physically most days. But every time his son calls about a problem, Robert starts feeling tight in the chest, as though he's bracing for bad news. He noticed that after these calls, he'd often get winded just walking from the living room to the kitchen, a distance he normally covers with ease. Eventually, he stumbled onto something that helped, a simple relaxation technique. Whenever he feels stress creeping in, he closes his eyes and visualizes a calm place, his childhood lake cabin. He pictures the sun shimmering on the water's surface, the light breeze, the sound of gentle waves lapping the shore. With each inhale, he imagines drawing in that peaceful energy, and with each exhale, he imagines blowing away the tension. This exercise might sound too simple, but it's backed by numerous specialists who acknowledge the mind-body connection. When you reduce stress, you also reduce the physical tension that restricts your breathing. It's as if you're removing those rocks from the lake, allowing the water to settle into peaceful stillness. The emotional benefit here is perhaps the most profound of all. You gain a sense of resilience, a feeling that even when life throws challenges at you, you're not at their mercy. You can regulate your breathing, calm your heartbeat, and respond from a place of clarity and control. If you calm your mind, your breath will follow. That's the principle Robert lives by now. It's a reminder that you can't separate your emotional state from your physical state, especially when it comes to breathing well in your golden years. So we've explored the power of gentler breathing, the importance of good posture, the magic of mindful pacing, the synergy between hydration and nasal breathing, and the vital role of stress management. Each of these areas is a key that can unlock easier, smoother breaths in your everyday life. As we come to the end of our time together, take a moment to picture what it would feel like to put these 5 insights into practice. Can you see yourself moving around your home, going out for errands, or laughing with friends without that nagging shortness of breath? Can you imagine the relief of knowing you have techniques to calm your breathing when anxiety flares up, or strategies to prevent feeling winded too quickly? This isn't just wishful thinking, it's the practical outcome of applying these steps. And each day you wait is another day you might be robbing yourself of that lighter, freer feeling. There's a real urgency here. The sooner you start, the faster you'll see results. Sometimes even a small change in how you sit or a mindful moment in the middle of a stressful conversation can make an immediate difference. Which of these 5 points spoke to you the most? Was it the concept of breathing less to breathe better? Or maybe the simple power of remembering to drink water and breathe through your nose? Whatever it is, hold on to that insight. Think about one small step you can take. Maybe place a sticky note where you often sit, reminding yourself to adjust your posture, or set an alarm to sip water every hour. Visualize how you can integrate that one step into your day so it becomes as natural as brushing your teeth. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your feedback doesn't just help us, it helps inspire others who might be reading. If enough of us share ideas, we build a community of support where seniors realize breathing easier is truly within reach. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might benefit from an extra dose of hope. And remember, the more we support each other, the more good content we can create to help every senior live a fuller, freer life. Yes, breathing challenges can feel overwhelming at times, but you have more power than you think. By adopting these simple yet transformative habits, you don't just reclaim your breath, you reclaim your independence, your joy, and your ability to fully show up for the moments that matter. Keep that in mind the next time you feel winded. Your breath is your ally, not your enemy. And no matter your age, it's never too late to discover that surprising secret to easier breathing that most seniors don't know. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And until then, may each breath bring you comfort, strength, and renewed hope.